Disgraceful. Rafael Rivera's furious voice echoed throughout the living room as he violently flipped the coffee table. Amelia and Charles had only just returned from the hospital and now sat trembling on the couch, facing the towering man consumed by anger. Right. How could you both be so reckless with your futures and with your family's reputation? Charles, you idiot. Raphael reached for Charles's collar, but Amelia instantly stepped in between them. Dad, it wasn't Charles. He's not the baby's father. Raphael's expression darkened. What do you mean he's not the father? If the child isn't his, right, then who the hell is responsible? And Amelia's eyes filled with tears. I know this sounds terrible, but I don't know. From the opposite end of the couch, right. Amelia's manipulative stepmother, Valentina Rivera, reacted with exaggerated shock. What an indecent girl. Raphael shot his wife a warning glance. Valentina, enough. I'll deal with this. I've always told you that you were far too forgiving with your eldest daughter. I warned you she wasn't nearly as innocent as she pretends to be. What's next? That was right. Is she going to claim she's the next Virgin Mary? Raphael silenced her before turning back to Amelia with a serious expression. Amelia, tell me honestly, did someone force himself on you? For a brief moment, Amelia considered saying yes. Pretending she had no choice would have made things easier. Right. But despite her father's anger, she couldn't bring herself to lie. Right. That night had been a decision they both made willingly. They had chosen to be together, and now they were facing the consequences of that choice. No, Dad. It wasn't like that, right? I wanted to be with him that night. At that moment, her half-sister, Sophie, eagerly jumped into the conversation. That was right, clearly enjoying the opportunity to criticize Amelia. But you didn't even know who he was. Seriously, you hooked up with some random stranger off the street. How could you do that to Charles? He's always been so good to you. Amelia shot her sister an icy glare. Stay out of this, Sophie. It's none of your business. Valentina immediately came to Sophie's defense. Don't you dare speak to my daughter like that. Amelia's patience snapped. Right. It absolutely is my business when you keep acting like I'm the only one who's ever made a mistake. Right. I know I messed up, and I'm taking responsibility for it. But Sophie isn't exactly innocent either. She turned toward her father. Right. Did you know she brought drugs into the club on my birthday? Maybe I can't prove it, right? But I'm certain she slipped something into my drink after I told her I didn't want any, if that's true, right? Then this is partly her fault too. Raphael slammed his hand against the wall with such force that everyone instantly fell silent. Enough. I don't want to hear another word. Pulling out his phone, he spoke coldly. I'm calling the clinic. That's right. We're getting rid of this problem today. Amelia quickly grabbed the phone from his hand. Raphael glared at her. What do you mean no? She swallowed hard before answering. I think I want to keep my baby. I'm an adult now. This is my decision. Raphael's face hardened once again. Not while you're living under my roof. If the media hears about this scandal, my re-election campaign will be destroyed, right? I'm running on family values and moral integrity. Amelia let out a bitter laugh. So your public stance against abortion suddenly doesn't matter when it's your own family. That's incredibly hypocritical. Without warning, Raphael slapped Amelia across the face. The first time he had ever laid a hand on her. Right. Sophie couldn't hide the satisfied smile that spread across her face as Amelia stumbled backward. The burning sting on Amelia's cheek quickly turned into anger. Deep inside, right. She directed every ounce of that fury toward the mysterious man who had gotten her pregnant and disappeared. Right. Leaving her to carry the burden alone. He should have been standing beside her. Right. Sharing the consequences of what they had both done. Taking a deep breath, Amelia walked toward the front entrance. I know I made a terrible mistake. And I know this situation is awful. But this isn't the Middle Ages anymore. Women can raise children without being married. Raphael yanked open the front door. Not in this house. If you choose to keep that baby and throw your future away, right, then you'll do it without me. And without a single dollar from my bank account. Without another word, Amelia stormed outside. Charles rushed after her, catching up on the porch. Amelia, wait. If you need somewhere to stay, I'm sure my parents would be happy to help. She looked at him with tear-filled eyes. I'm sorry, right? Charles, with graduation coming up and Columbia waiting for you this fall. Right, you deserve a better future than this. You shouldn't have to get dragged into the mess I created. Charles frowned in disbelief. What are you talking about? A sad smile crossed Amelia's face. Right. Sophie was right about one thing. You're a genuinely good person. And I know you'll try to help me, right? But it wouldn't be fair for me to hold you back. You don't have to do this alone. Ames. A tears threatened to fall, but she forced herself to stay strong. Please, Charles. I need time to figure everything out. It'll be easier if I have one less thing to worry about. I'll see you at graduation. Okay? Before he could answer, right. Amelia turned away and hurried down the steps, refusing to look back. She knew that if she met his eyes one more time, she'd lose the strength to walk away. Right. Pushing Charles out of her life shattered her heart. But with his entire future ahead of him, right. She could never forgive herself if her mistakes ruined his dreams. From this day forward, right, their paths would have to go in different directions. Although Amelia had no idea who the father of her unborn child really was, right, she did have one clue to follow, Mr. Cortez. His name was the only connection she had Right. And she was determined to use it to make sure the mysterious man who had turned her life upside down learned that he was about to become a father. After sending a single email, Amelia found herself sitting inside Mr. Cortez's office the very next day. Miss Rivera, it's a pleasure to see you. Before he could continue, Amelia cut him off. Before you say anything, Mr. Cortez, I'm only here because I felt your client deserved to know that he's about to have a child in this world. Not that he seems to know the first thing about responsibility. As she folded her arms firmly. And let me make one thing perfectly clear. Keeping this baby is my decision. Right. I didn't come here so you and your client could pressure me into ending the pregnancy. Mr. Cortez calmly folded his hands together. My client fully supports your decision to keep the baby. Amelia blinked in surprise. Right, that wasn't the response she had expected. Wait. Seriously. He still has no intention of being involved in the child's life. Mr. Cortez continued. Right. And he wishes to remain completely anonymous. Amelia rolled her eyes in frustration. So he's just as pathetic as I thought. Without reacting, Mr. Right. Cortez placed a familiar document on the desk between them. If you remember, Miss Rivera, you signed this non-disclosure agreement, right? Included within it is a clause releasing my client from any legal parental obligations should a pregnancy result. Disgust spread across Amelia's face as she stared at the paperwork, right? Mr. Cortez couldn't resist a smug smile. Do you normally sign contracts without reading them? As an attorney, I'd strongly advise against that. Consider it free legal advice. His sarcastic tone only made Amelia feel worse. Right, I don't even know why I bothered coming here. She stood up, ready to leave. Have a nice day, Mr. Cortez. Before she could reach the door, he spoke. Miss Rivera, I think you'll want to hear the rest. She paused. Although my client has no legal obligation to do so, right? He's prepared to pay every medical expense related to the pregnancy. In addition, right, or he'll provide financial support for you and the child until your son or daughter turns 18. For several long moments, Amelia simply stared at him. You're serious? As she narrowed her eyes suspiciously. This doesn't sound like him. What's the catch? Mr. Cortez leaned back comfortably. Right. Still wearing that irritating grin, Amelia desperately wanted to wipe off his face. There isn't one. She wasn't convinced. I know you're planning to attend Columbia University this fall. Amelia frowned. Right. Has he been spying on me? The idea that the baby's father knew so much about her, while she knew absolutely nothing about him, filled her with frustration. Mr. Cortez answered in a calm, reassuring voice. Right. I simply need to know which hospital in New York you'd like us to coordinate with for the delivery. Amelia shook her head. Actually, I've changed my plans. I'm staying here for college instead. Right. It'll be much easier considering everything that's happened. I understand. He made a quick note. In that case, right. We'll arrange everything with South Miami Medical Center. As soon as he finished writing, right, a slow smile spread across his face, a smile that immediately made Amelia uneasy. Now, about the catch. Amelia instantly grabbed the stapler sitting on his desk, right, ready to throw it if necessary. You just said there wasn't one. Mr. Cortez sighed impatiently. Right. If I'd mentioned it first, you probably wouldn't have listened to the generous offer. And frankly, my patience has its limits. Reluctantly, Amelia sat back down. Right. Though she continued gripping the stapler, while waiting for whatever outrageous condition was coming next. It's very straightforward, Miss Rivera. He slid another contract across the desk. The financial support I've described is guaranteed for the next 18 years, as long as you sign this agreement. Amelia carefully looked over the papers before lifting her eyes toward him. And what exactly would I be agreeing to? Mr. Cortez met her gaze without hesitation. If, at any point during the next 18 years, my client decides he wants to be part of the child's life, right, you must immediately grant him shared custody. Furthermore, right, both you and the child will be required to live under my client's roof. The words hit Amelia like a punch to the chest, leaving her speechless as she stared at the contract lying in front of her. Amelia remained frozen, staring at the agreement in disbelief. You expect me to promise that if your client suddenly decides to play father years from now, I have to hand over shared custody immediately and move into his house. Mr. Cortez nodded calmly. Those are the terms, if you accept them. Right. The financial support will continue until your child reaches the age of 18. She let out a frustrated laugh. That's unbelievable. You're free to reject the offer, he replied evenly. No one is forcing you to sign. Amelia looked back down at the contract. The proposal made her stomach turn. Right. But so did the thought of raising a child completely on her own without any financial help. So these are my choices, she muttered bitterly. Either struggle to provide everything myself, right, or spend the next 18 years wondering when an anonymous stranger might suddenly appear and demand to become part of my child's life. Mr. Cortez simply folded his hands. My client believes this arrangement is fair. Amelia scoffed. Fair? He disappears without even telling me his name, hides behind lawyers and paperwork. And somehow this is supposed to be fair. The lawyer offered no response, right? After several long moments of silence, Amelia carefully placed the contract back on the desk. I need time to think. Of course. Mr. Cortez stood and straightened his suit. Right, take as much time as you need. The offer will remain available, for now. Without another word, right. Amelia picked up her bag and walked toward the door. Just before leaving, she paused. "Tell your client one thing for me." Mr. Cortez raised an eyebrow. "Right. No amount of money will ever erase what he's done." With that, Amelia walked out of the office, her emotions more conflicted than ever. Right. She had come hoping for answers, but left with even more questions. The father of her baby still refused to reveal his identity. Yet somehow, right, he already knew nearly everything about her life. Right. And now he was asking her to make a decision that could shape both her future and her child's for the next 18 years. Unsure of what to do next, Amelia stepped outside. Right. Taking a deep breath as the weight of everything settled on her shoulders. Right. One signature could solve her financial problems. Right. But it might also bind her to a complete stranger forever. Only time would tell which path she would choose. To listen to the complete audio series, download the Pocket FM app today.